Hi friends and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the world's second largest polluting industry on Earth. And if you don't know what that is, hold on to your butts because it's seriously huge. It's the making of our clothes. That's right, it's fast fashion. So fast fashion emits more greenhouse gases than the travel industry and the shipping industry combined. That's a lot. So I guess you're gonna ask me next, Anne, what is fast fashion? Fast fashion companies are clothing companies that are only interested in making a profit, and they produce cheap clothes quickly. And that is their whole agenda, is to turn over cheap clothes and just keep making more. Some of these clothing companies you will recognize. There are clothing companies all around us. They're H&M, Forever 21, Charlotte Russe, Zara, Topshop, Urban Outfitters, Macy's, JCPenney, Target, Walmart. The list goes on and on, you guys. There are so many companies that are doing this way of making our clothing, and it creates a lot of pollution. So let's just dive right into it. Why does this concern us? Why is this important? Well, first I want to talk about the production of how these companies are going about making their clothes. So first let's talk about what these clothes are made of. Well, most of these clothes, I mean, you guys can tell when we buy them that they're mostly cheap, right? And they tend to tear easily, or sometimes the zippers don't work or the buttons don't work. And even if you look at the tag of your clothes, you'll see that it doesn't really contain a whole lot of raw materials, such as this is 100% cotton, or 90% wool, or 95% linen. I usually don't find those things on those tags. What you do find though is that most of the clothes are made from chemicals, and the biggest one is polyester. What's in polyester? Right, this is what I questioned. What is polyester? Well, I looked it up, and polyester is actually the makeup of coal, petroleum, so gas, and plastic. So our clothes are made up of three of the other's world's biggest polluters, all into our clothes. So that's what they're putting into our clothing. So the other thing that these companies are doing to create cheap clothes quickly is that they're outsourcing all their work. So what they do is they hire private factory owners in usually third world countries. And these countries usually don't have their own clothing industry because they're making all of our clothes. So why these companies do this is because this way, they're not responsible for anything that goes on in that factory. They don't have to be liable for any damages or any injuries that succumb to the people. They don't have to, uphold to any labor laws. They're not responsible. So that's what they kind of do in this, is they try to lose their responsibility with all the poor working conditions that these factories have. So what they do is I'll give you an example. Let's just say H&M hires one of these factory owners. They go to this owner and they say, we want you to produce a $6 shirt. And he goes, $6 shirt? That's kind of ridiculous. Well, we want you to do it, and we want you to do it for this amount. That's too little. Well, if you won't do it, we'll go to the next factory. And usually these owners are in pretty desperate states, and what they do realize is that if they don't take this offer from H&M, Forever 21 is going to come by and they're going to say, hey, we want you to create a $5 shirt for an even lesser amount because H&M is creating this $6 shirt. So usually these owners just feel like they need to take the deal, and what happens is they try and cut costs. So they're paying for the material, the tools, they're paying their own salary, and then they're paying their workers' salary. So everything else when it comes to upholding the work environment is not funded. No money is going into keeping these buildings safe and, safe like what we would classify as safe and workable, or even to somewhat of that standard. They're in definite poor working conditions, and these fashion companies take no responsibility for anything that happens to these people. And you can look into this yourself. This is a huge major issue in and of itself, which is these people, there have been people, thousands of people that have died in these buildings because these buildings have collapsed. There are electronic issues, there's wire exposed, people have been electrocuted. There are so many different things, and so I really can't cover it today in this video, but you can look into it yourself. I suggest that you look up Rana Plaza in Bangladesh, India, and that would give you a lot more information as to how these people are being treated and what they're actually working in. So why are these fast fashion companies wanting clothes so quickly? Well, if you've noticed, every single week there are new clothes in a store. They're coming up with new trends every single week. And this makes the consumer feel off trend all the time, so they want to buy more. This is a trick by the companies. So what happens after these clothes are produced cheaply in another country and then shipped back to us and put into our store? So what do? We go and we buy some of these shirts and tops that are pretty cheap, and we may like them at first, but as time goes on, they either rip or tear easily, the buttons don't work, or the zippers don't work, some problem happens, and you end up either donating it or throwing it away. And don't say that you don't, because it is said that the average American throws away 82 pounds of textile a year. So for the US alone, that averages to 26 billion pounds of textile waste. I haven't seen any of that waste on our country, have you? So let's talk about donating. This I encourage you to do yourself, just like I encourage you to look up the journey of a water bottle, the journey of a t-shirt after you donate it. It's an ugly truth, but only 10% of what we actually donate goes back to local thrift stores or the Salvation Army or to the needy. Only 10%. That's huge, you guys. That means that 90% is ending up in landfills and in other countries. I'm sure you're asking, why only 10%? Well, the thing is that we are producing so many clothes that we don't even have enough people or needy people to use these clothes. We are making too many clothes. So what's happening is when you go and donate your clothes, is most of that is being packaged up and shipped to third world countries where several things can happen. One, actually these packaged clothes that we donate can be bought by a third-party company, which then decides to resell our used, damaged clothes to third world countries where they have the option to buy these clothes. But usually they don't, because they're cheap, and if they're gonna buy clothes, they actually want to buy something that's gonna last them longer. So they end up not buying these clothes, so they go to the landfill. The second thing is that it's just too much. So it literally, these packages, they either go to storage facilities in these third world countries and then they go to waste later. But overall, so much of textiles end up in landfills, and that's really important to know. So what happens when these clothes end up on these landfills? I mean, they're going to these other countries and just sitting there. And let's remember what these clothes are made of. They're made out of chemicals. So if you have a plethora of chemical items just sitting there in the sun, it releases harmful gases. So that's what's happening right now, is that even third world countries are banning, they're trying to get laws to ban the US, Canada, and the UK to send no more textile waste, because it's in mountains, you guys. It's pretty crazy. It's in mountains. And this is exposing harmful gases and really harming the community around it. There are people that do live around these areas. So let's just recap on this real quick. Fast fashion is outsourcing their work to other countries to create cheap clothes quickly. Those clothes come back to us, put in the stores, we buy them, then after a certain amount of time, we donate them or we throw them away, only to land up back into these people that create our clothes back on their land as waste, where it exposes harmful gases. I mean, that just is so messed up to me. I hope you see the reality of this. So another big thing I want to talk to you about is recycling clothes. There are some companies out there that are just not completely honest. So I want you to be very skeptical when you're going to these recycling donation bins. For example, H&M offers you these donation bins, so you can go ahead and you can donate your clothes, and when you donate your clothes, they actually give you a coupon to buy more of their clothes. They're saying that these bins, they will take the clothes that you donate, they will break them down, and they will reuse, recycle some of the materials that these clothes are made up of to make you new clothes. Sounds great. Sounds like they're trying to do something great. And I mean, if you watch their commercials, it's so easily that you could be fooled by this. The truth is that their clothes aren't made of sustainable items. They're not made of raw materials. They're made of chemicals and synthetic chemicals. So when you're gonna recycle those clothes, only 1% of those clothes actually get recycled, if that. So they're claiming that they are recycling these clothes to make more clothes, but the truth is that they're not changing their ways at all. They are still outsourcing their work. They're still making cheap clothing quickly that is made up of mostly chemicals and synthetics. So they're not using that recyclable clothes because they can't, because they only get maybe 1% of actual recyclable material out of it. So I just encourage you to really look into, if you want to donate, look into organizations that truly are reusing textiles and clothes in sustainable ways. Not just posing it off so that they can continue their bad habits. So I know that this issue is overwhelming. I told you about how impacting the pollution is of making clothes. So now you're like, well, what can I do? I feel like I have this information, but what can I do now? Well, the first thing that you can do that's the most important is consume less. So when you're looking to buy clothes, think, do I really need this? I mean, this kind of applies to me like for anything. What I try to do is Marie Kondo really inspires me. I don't know if you've ever seen her show Tidying Up, but she really inspires me. So whenever I'm shopping and I just find something that I like, or maybe clothes-wise I like, I usually try it on or hold this object and really think, does this give me joy? And usually it doesn't, usually a material item doesn't give me joy. It'll fade away, so I end up not buying it. So just asking yourself, either does this bring me joy or do I really need this? Just try and practice more consciousness and consuming less if possible. And then, if you do need clothes and you want to buy more, check out thrift shops first. That's the best thing you can do. That is truly recycled clothes. Because those clothes that we're all donating, we should be re-shopping into those first. That is the best way to go about it. That is true recycling. So, before you even donate your clothes or throw them away, there are things that you can do to reutilize your own clothes or textiles, whatever you have. For instance, I change a lot of my old shirts. Like, I have this really ugly work shirt. I should just go get it for you and show you. I should. It was so ugly. Okay, here it is. So I turned this old, ugly green work shirt into a tote bag. See, it's so funny. It even says "stop" on the bag, and I cut it out. So anyways, I actually use this one because I didn't have very good scissors, so it's kind of like ratchet, but it works. And what I do with this one is I actually use this one to collect like oranges and lemons and avocados around the area where I live. So you can reutilize your clothes. Even socks, okay? So socks that you don't want to wear anymore or that have a few holes, I've actually turned them into dusters. And they're really good as blind cleaners. If you have blinds, I mean, you just put that thing on your hand and shoop, shoop, shoop. And then you can just throw that in the wash or just wash it in the sink, whatever your means are. So there are so many videos also that you can look up how to revamp your clothes, how to make tote bags, how to make clothes into other things. It's so cool. You can just look up on YouTube, do it yourself, revamping clothing, whatever you're looking for. Next, when you're looking to buy new clothes and you want to practice more sustainability and more consciousness, I really encourage you into looking into ethical fashion lines. There are so many right now, and even more up and coming, because hopefully more people demand this, good quality clothing. So there are lots of ethical clothing lines that you can shop for now that are fair trade certified, that are using raw organic materials. So it's a lot more, if you have sensitive skin, it's a lot better for you to be wearing ethically sourced clothing. And the way that they're creating their clothing is less pollution and less toxicity, which I think is so important. Some of these brands you actually may already know. There's Patagonia, Prana, Wholesome Culture. I'll link all of my favorites and that I have shopped from below, but you can always do more research and find them online. Just make sure you're doing your research to check and see that they are doing what you're passionate about. And honestly, there are people behind these companies, you guys. That's what's beautiful about this. I complained to one of them the other day. I was looking into, for this video, I was looking into some research in ethical clothing lines, and I found this new one, and I was doing some research, and then I signed up for their email, and they sent me a 10% off your first order. I thought that was cool. Well, then 5 days later, not even, they sent me, your $10 off coupon is expiring soon. Use it now. So I sent them an email back saying, this is the problem with fast fashion, is that they encourage you to consume more. And what we need to be doing is consuming less. And when we do consume less, we make the right choice. And we go to companies like yours that are sustainable and ethically sourced clothing, and we purchase in that. But by you telling me that my $10 gift card is going to expire soon and I should spend, how are you any different than H&M and Forever 21 by encouraging me to consume? And I got a response back within 12 hours, and they said, you're right. We appreciate you. We would not be here making this clothing line if it weren't for you and people like you who care so much about our planet. And you made me realize that that is the wrong way, and we are going to be changing our email platform, and the discount will still apply. So that's what's so cool. If you were to ever complain or send a complaint to H&M Forever 21, you may get an automatic email back and never hear from them again, because they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about us, and they don't give a shit about any of the people they employ. They've made that clear. So it's just cooler that these companies, not only do they care about the planet, but they care about their customers more, and it's visible. Okay, you guys, this was a huge topic. I mean, the pollution alone, I only scraped the surface. I wanted to make this video engaging so that you wouldn't click off, but it is such a dense topic. So if you want to know more, please let me know, and I would love to actually go more into detail about the materials that are being put into these clothes, the pollution factors, how it's affecting communities in other countries, how it's affecting our planet. There's so many factors in it, so let me know if you're interested in more. And if you just want to check out more for yourself, I'm going to link a few videos in the description below, just so you can get more knowledge on how huge this issue is and how you can possibly make small changes in your own life to put out less pollution. Also, I encourage you to check out the movie on Netflix called The True Cost. They go into detail about the fast fashion industry and how big this issue is, and they really go into detail. So I would encourage. Okay, you guys, so I just want to say that this is a huge issue right now that is being really ignored today. I don't think most of us knew that this was such a polluting industry. I certainly didn't until last year, and I slowly made changes over to buying ethically sourced clothing and revamping my clothes and just trying to put out less waste. But I wanted to bring awareness because I feel that many people don't know what's going on, and this is a huge, huge issue. But we as the consumer have the power. That is what is so cool. You and I can change this by voting with our dollar. Choosing to buy clothes when we do buy clothes from ethically sourced fashion companies that give out way less pollution than fast fashion companies, this will already show and make the switch over. If we show fast fashion companies that we're not interested in cheap clothing made with chemicals and that gives out lots of pollution, and we actually are interested in high quality that gives out less pollution, they will change their way. They go where the consumer is going. That's why they know that some of their customers have learned about how irresponsible and how much pollution they have given out with their clothes. That's why they've created this recycle movement. Even though it's kind of a lie, they notice that this is what we want. So if we just make it even stronger by not buying their clothes, when buying clothes, going to the thrift store first, then going to ethically sourced fashion lines to buy our clothes, voting with our dollar is so powerful. We can make the difference. We can do this. Okay, you guys, I just want you to remember that the light in me is a reflection of the light in you. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Light and love.